Then let's talk about the alternative technology, because continuous monitoring is just one. It was discussed in the preamble, if I remember correctly, but it wasn't actually specifically outlined. How should we think about that?
Yeah, it wasn't very clear. It's pretty vague in the preamble on how they would allow operators to sort of time bound these events, right? So what will an operator be able to say, or what data will they be able to provide to say, here's when it actually started. We're not going to go back 182 days. We saw it start last week. So the EPA will need to clarify, hopefully, in their final rule how operators can use that. But alternative technologies are certainly something that they should be looking for. If a continuous monitoring system, for example, can pick up when an event started, then they'll be able to time bound that. And you might have a significantly lower fee, of course. Say it's a 24-hour event versus 182 days, might only be $5,000 for that particular event versus $800,000. So it can be a significant change in what your financial fee might be.
So a lot of times people are always talking about like ROI, right? For there, you would say like that's 160 delta. And obviously, like, you know, just every single day that the event is occurring for, you could have paid for continuous monitoring, you know, for a year or every few days, whatever it is that you're trying to utilize as well. But I guess given this is not necessarily defined, right? And it may be tied to some of the other stuff we'll discuss in a moment on Quad B and LDAR, I guess it's important to try to go after probably quality measurements. Is that a fair point?
Yeah, I think specifically for this, you want a measurement that's going to tell you exactly, hopefully, when it started, or at least shorten that time frame. So you want a system that's going to have high fidelity and be able to pick up even a small leak, especially if we're talking that 250 metric ton of CO2e. That's to capture those leaks, right, that are smaller but last for a very long time. So you're going to want a type of system that can see those small leaks and be able to pick those up so you can address them long before you ever hit that 250 metric ton.
Yeah, and that's another cool point as well. And the interesting part is there's lots of technologies that check this box. There's some optical gas imaging stuff that is already out or coming out. There's the point sensors, which obviously are dependent on the wind blowing it in the right direction. So obviously there's some squishiness there in terms of the time bound. It may take a day to get the wind going in the right direction. You have LiDAR technology. There's just a lot there. But I guess the other thing is speed is important, which you're touching on as well. So even if you were to like find it fairly quickly, right, you may be able to avoid the other large release event altogether. Let's say it's like 20 kilograms per hour, and then you'll be able to avoid it altogether. Where if you found it with your quarterly flyover, your semi-annual flyover, you'll probably trip that 250 metric tons of CO2e. Is fair?
Yeah, no, exactly. You're 100% correct. That 250 metric ton of CO2e. So again, you got to apply the global warming potential to the methane, which is 25 times right now, and it proposed to be higher. So you have to look at that over that period of time. So you're going to get there a lot more quickly with a smaller release event that won't trigger for the 100 kilogram an hour of methane, but could easily trigger for the 250 metric tons. So the more quickly you see it and then respond to it and address it, the better chance you have of not having to report under Subpart W for the other large release event.